Namaskar. Hello friends. I am Major Saras Tripathi. Today we are going to talk about fifth chapter of my book Silent Constitution Dangerous Consequences in English and its Hindi version Maun Samvidhan Bhayanak Parinam. The fifth chapter is about declaring India as a Hindu Rashtra. I am sure many of you might have been shocked or at least surprised on this proposal. But we very seriously, very emphatically need to consider declaring India as a Hindu Rashtra. What is the meaning of declaring? India is already a Hindu Rashtra. Many people say so, including the nationalists. They say any nation is recognized by its culture and majority of the people. So India is already a Hindu Rashtra, but I do not agree with this. This kind of rhetoric and emotional utterance does not make India any better. What I am proposing in the book to the Parliament of India to make the law, that is Hindu Rashtra Constitutional Recognition and Definition Act. So India should constitutionally be recognized as a Hindu Rashtra and it should be defined so. This is the proposal. Now question comes, why this proposal? What is the need for such a proposal to enact a law to identify and define India as a Hindu Rashtra? The need is very grave. It's not me who is saying this. It has been said by the Meghalaya High Court, and whatever comes from a judge or from judiciary has to be heard. While delivering his judgment on Amon Rana case, Justice S.R. Sen of Meghalaya High Court had said that India should be declared a Hindu Rashtra. What he had said, I will quote, it is on the record, because he has sent a copy of his order to the Prime Minister of India, President of India and many dignitaries. What he has said is, I am reading from the book. The judge says in his judgment, I make it clear that nobody should try to make India as another Islamic country, otherwise it will be a doomsday for India and the world. In his 37-page order, a single judge bench of Justice S.R. Sen made these observations while disposing of a petition filed by Amon Rana, a Hindu whose forefathers had migrated from Bangladesh to India and who had served in the Indian Army. After giving his youth, his prime days to the armed forces, serving the army, when Amon Rana applied for domicile certificate to the state of Meghalaya, he was denied on the ground that he is not a citizen of India, he is not a domicile of Meghalaya, because he, being a Hindu, he migrated from Bangladesh. Except Hindus, everybody was adopted, particularly Christians, because Meghalaya is a Christian dominated state and there is doubtlessly discrimination against Hindus. And this judgment and outburst of the judge was result of the discrimination which he himself had felt being a Hindu, that he had mentioned in many words. And he sent a copy of this judgment to the Prime Minister and Home Minister and advised them to consider very seriously to declare India as a Hindu Rashtra constitutionally. Now, the question comes, why India needs to be declared and identified constitutionally, defined constitutionally as a Hindu Rashtra? There are many reasons. I will elaborate them one by one. First, the logic of the protagonist, those who support India to be defined and identified as a Hindu Rashtra constitutionally. That is, in 1947, in undivided India, the population of Hindus were overwhelming. But because of the insistence of Muslim League in general and certain Muslim leaders in particular and the majority of Muslim population, the nation was divided. The results were very devastating. Approximately 30 lakh people were killed, many raped, maimed, and approximately 2 crore people were displaced. These are the estimates given by various sources and generally they are accepted. When the Muslims and Muslim League said that they are a separate nation and they divided India in two parts, in East Pakistan and West Pakistan, What was left was a nation only for the Hindus. This is the argument given by the protagonist of Hindu Rashtra. But this can be an argument, and somebody can say it is an emotional argument. Now certain factual arguments that are required to be considered by the nation. There are approximately 201 nations in the world. 195 are recognized by the United Nations organization and 6 are unrecognized nations. Out of these, there are 58 nations that are Muslim majority, approximately 120 nations that are Christian majority, 7 nations that are Buddhist majority. There are only 2 nations that are Hindu majority. Now let us see the figure. Out of 58 nations that are Islamic, Muslim dominated, 23 are declared theocracy. That is, in 23 nations, Islam is the state religion. Anything spoken against Islam is a crime. Many nations have blasphemy laws where even smallest and suspicious act against Quran or Islam is punishable by death. Almost every week we hear one person or the other has been prosecuted in Pakistan because somebody suspected him of desecration of the holy book, and this is being done only on suspicion. There is a Taliban type of justice meted out to the suspect where a person is lynched on the road only because somebody spread the rumor that he has torn the holy book. That's one. Where the country is not a theocracy, there also the laws are very strict and minorities are prosecuted. It is not a secret. It is a open thing that comes into media. Yes, to be fair, there are certain Muslim nations who have given good environment for minorities to work, like United Arab Emirates and a few nations, but fundamentally they remain an Islamic nation. Now Christians, there are 127 nations that are Christian majority in the world, and out of these 127 nations, 33 are Christian theocracies where Christianity is protected by the state. There are 7 Buddhist dominated states and almost all of them have Buddhism and as a state religion. Though they are very liberal, but yes, they have the protection of the state, the government. And there are a few nations that are non-religion, including the biggest, most populated nation, that is China. Now come to Hinduism. There are only 2 nations in the world that are Hindu majority, both are secular. Hindus by nature are secular. So there is no nation which has given state protection to Hinduism. And this also proves that Hindus by nature are purely secular. India had the choice of being a theocratic nation after 1947, but it not only gave equal rights to the minorities but special privileges and special rights under Article 25 to 31 to minorities. In fact, many people have the opinion that because of these privileges given to minorities, Hindus have been rendered as second-class citizens. The minority rights given to minorities are being misused against the Hindus themselves for conversion and for many other purposes which are not good for Hindus or for the nation. This can be judged by just one example, that except Hindus, every other religious community is a minority. There are 6 states and 3 union territories where Hindus are in minority and they have not been given these minority rights. You will be surprised to know in Jammu and Kashmir, 36% population is Hindu and 64% is Muslim, and very minuscule majority, rather I will say approximately 36% Hindus and 63 to 64% Muslims and remaining 6 and Christians. But all minority rights are with everybody except Hindus. So because of the secularism, the Hindus are being discriminated. That needs to be corrected. Now coming to the point. If you see, the entire landscape of Africa is divided in 2 parts. In my book, I have given a map that is called World Religion Map, and that shows what is the state of Hinduism and what is the state of other religions. And this is to show why India needs a protection to protect the oldest religion in the world. This is the world religion map. Here you can see the purple color is of Christianity, green color, the areas shown in green color are of the nations that are Islamic or have majority as Muslims. So this entire area dominated by Christianity, this entire area by the Muslims. This is China, which is non-religion. This is Mongolia, which is Buddhist, and these countries are Buddhist. Only India and Nepal here. There are two countries, India here and Nepal here, they are Hindu dominated nations. So these nations, this is the state of religion in the world. This is the only area where Hindus are in majority and they need protection. Hinduism is the oldest continual religion in the world. There is a very limited geographical area where Hindus are in majority, that is India and Nepal. And because of secularism, as we know, it's no secret anymore that there are forces that are trying to convert India into a Christian nation. There are forces that are trying to convert India into an Islamic nation, and all kind of effort from allurement to forced conversion is taking place. That is why it needs to be protected. So what will be the character of India after India is declared constitutionally as a Hindu nation? The question is whether India is innately a secular country or it is secular because of the constitution. The answer is India is innately a secular country. From centuries India has been giving protection and shelter to all religions, and this needs to be justified by the facts. When Persians came to India, prosecuted by the Arabs in Persia, they were given three choices: either accept Islam or leave this land or face death. This has been the threat not only to Persia, in many nations including Afghanistan. So Persians came to India, and India is the only country where Parsis are still there, approximately 90,000. Even they are not there in Iran itself, which is their motherland. When Jews were persecuted all over the world, they came to India and India gave them shelter, protection. And it is on the record that Jews have said that all over the world they went to protect themselves, their religion, their life, their liberty. India was the only country that did not discriminate on any ground. So, India is innately a secular religion. It needs to be declared as a Hindu nation only because Hinduism needs protection from the state. And being a secular nation, India has given privileges to minorities that are being misused against the majority community itself. There are forced conversions. There are divisive forces who are propagating that India is a country of minorities. They propagate that SC is a different community, ST is a different community, Brahmins are a different community, all the castes are different community. So this kind of propagation to break India and divide India is taking place because only it is a secular country. To some extent, it is very necessary and important to protect Hinduism. We have seen many videos, there have been some prosecution also, where Hindu deities, Hindu religion is being mocked. This cannot happen in any other nation, where religious sentiments are openly heard by the minority community. We have to keep in mind, if Hindus were non-secular, they wouldn't have gone through so much of persecution for so many years. As we know, India is the only country in the world where minorities have persecuted the majority. India has always been a majority Hindu country, but still it was persecuted by minorities that came to our nation. And taking the liberty of our liberal thoughts, our accommodative nature, they became the rulers. That is why I have written in my book that India needs to be declared constitutionally and it needs to be defined constitutionally as a Hindu nation. There are a few arguments that I have given in the book. It will be important to read them out. That is, today India is a secular and peaceful country only because Hindus are in majority. Imagine what will happen if Hindus became a minority in India. In some parts of India, Hindus are already in minority and treated as third grade citizen in their own secular country. Latest example is genocide and exodus of close to 4 lakh Hindus from Muslim majority Kashmir Valley. It is a pattern seen all over the world, and when Muslims gain majority, they do not allow any other religious community to live in peace. This is a fact. Today Hindus are mistreated in their own country in the name of secularism. The secularism they bestow on others is being used against them. It has become a fashion for so-called secular, in fact pseudo-seculars, to mock Hinduism and Hindu deities, as they take it for granted that Hindus are tolerant and liberal, so Hindus will not resist. Hindus are taken for granted, ignored, discriminated by almost all political parties because Hindus are not a vote bank. In their pursuit to appease the minorities, also called secular politicians have become anti-Hindu. Today Hindus are facing riots in most areas where they are in minority. Hindus have become helpless in those areas due to direct support of state governments to the rioters, and this happens because of vote bank politics. Taking advantage of secular laws, Hindus are being converted into other religions by force, inducement, allurement. Poor tribals, SC and ST backward Hindus are being targeted for religious conversion. Many religious organizations are working through their missionaries to convert India into Hindu minority or other religious dominated communities. Millions and billions of dollars are being pumped in for conversion, and it is not a secret, it is known to the government, to the people. Hindus after independence are ruled by secular laws, whereas Muslims have personal laws. When we have adopted a constitution that is secular, why there are two laws? That is a different topic on which I have already written in this book. So this kind of discrimination being meted out to Hindus is not good. That is why India needs to be declared as a Hindu nation. There are churches and mosques that are free from government control, whereas temples are under government control through trust. There is a separate chapter on this also in this book. All the income of the Hindu temples and endowments goes to the government treasury, whereas it is not applicable to any other religion except Hindus. Why this discrimination? This needs to end, and for this purpose India needs to be declared as a Hindu country. There are special provisions for the protection and growth of Urdu. There are hefty honorarium for madrasa teachers, but there is no honorarium in any state for the teachers of Sanskrit language or teachers of Hindu religion. So there is a lot of discrimination in India itself, and that is why India needs to be declared a Hindu nation. There can be arguments in favor and against proposal, but being futuristic and seeing what has happened in the history, it is very important that we should take a very considered or futuristic view. And the oldest religion in the world needs to be protected not only by Hindus, but our greatest culture, civilization, our Sanatan Dharma needs to be protected by the entire world, because this is the only dharma that can take humanity to highest glory. Thank you very much. Namaskar.